Okay. So I remember back in 2020 seeing a trailer for a game called Pragmata. And the trailer was about this space marine looking dude and this little girl trapped on the moon. And there wasn't a whole lot of dialogue from what I remember. There wasn't any gameplay. But the initial vibes that I was just getting from it was just I want to play this because I feel like this is going to be something special. I feel like this is going to be a really emotional kind of game, a real emotional kind of journey. Hopefully it's fun. I have no idea. And then over the next few years, maybe every year, sometimes every couple years, we would get another trailer for the game. Still not showing a lot of gameplay, but being like, okay, like it's coming along, so it's come out in 2022. Never mind, looks like 2023. Never mind, we now don't know when it's coming out. 2026, we promise. And, well, what do you know? It did, in fact, come out in 2026. And I have had a chance to play it. I actually finished playing it yesterday. So it turns out what Pragmata is, it is a third-person shooter about a man named Hugh. A Hugh man, if you will. It was something I realized like about halfway through the game. I was like, I just got the pun. But it's about a man named Hugh who gets trapped in like a moon research facility, encounters this little android girl named Diana, and the two of them working together to survive, figure out why the AI on the moon is going haywire, and them trying to return back to Earth. My understanding is that the reason the game was delayed for so long was just kind of to make sure that the gameplay worked right. Because there's the shooting and Diana's hacking is something that happens in tandem. You really can't have one without the other as you play the game. And my understanding is the delays were to make sure that everything worked right, that the two systems worked well together, and that it was fun to do. And I'm going to be honest, I think that worked. I think that, look, I would rather something take a while to come out and be good than, rather it be released and it be unfinished and be a janky mess. So I'm glad they took their time. I'm glad they were able to, achieve their vision. And I'm glad that it was fun. I won't lie, it did take me a while to get into the groove of the game, to the feel of the game. Part of that, like I've said in, a previous video, my PS5 controller has this weird problem where it has some kind of drift to it, which with a shooter is not great. But when I was playing it at my friend's house with his PS5 controller, it worked just fine. I think for me, the game got a lot more fun in maybe the second half or so, because there's a point, I don't remember exactly when it was, when my inventory expanded and I was able to just carry multiple of the green guns and the red guns. And yeah, that got a lot better because I felt that I wasn't as limited in my options. I started messing around more in the shelter with a lot of the customization for the weapons. So me personally, and also getting the carbine, or carbine, however you actually pronounce that. So for me, that was my preferred tactical unit. I used the shockwave gun, the charge piercer, and the stasis net. Those are my favorites. And I didn't get the drones until really late in the game. But boy, they were doing a lot of work for me once I got them. I liked those quite a bit. I liked the bosses a lot. Off the dome, I think the Lunar Digger was probably my favorite. But the boss in Chapter 2, I hated. And I liked the idea. I thought the fight was fun. But the second time it brought up the hacking jammers, for whatever reason, there was two on its, one on its shoulder, one on its back, that I just could not hit to save my life. So the fight was really fun. And then just got to a point where I'm like, I can't hit this. And I don't know why I'm struggling while Diana's on my back. Hugh, I can't hack until you get rid of the jammers. There they are. You got to get them. Kiddo, I know. Calm down for a second. And it made what should have been a really fun fight. Just for me, it got really frustrating. But I will admit, I think that was just mostly on me and my whatever difficulties I was having. But overall, I do think the game is very fun. Sorry, I'm just bringing my notes a little bit closer so I can see them better. But like, I think the game was very fun. The bosses were fun. I loved the red rooms. I don't know if I did all of them in the game, but I did all the ones that I had found, where it's just, okay, here's a bunch of enemies, normally in multiple waves, but there are some where I think there would only be one wave of enemies. Here's the setup of the room. Here you go. Here's the other weapons at your disposal. Take care of it however you can. And I had a lot of fun taking care of it. So, as for the story and the plot, I just want to say full spoilers from this point onwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're live. Or spoilers are live. The story is half dad simulator and half sci-fi AI kind of story. That aspect felt pretty standard. Like, okay, here's an AI that's trying to become more human, and there's this other AI that is expressly wanting to get rid of humans. Like, what's your plan? I'm gonna go to Earth and like destroy all organic life because that's what I gotta do. I remember when I got to that point, because the moment 8 was introduced, even before the twist, it was like, she's gonna be the antagonist. I know how stories work. So when the reveal of, oh yeah, I'm the antagonist, thank you for doing these things for me, you have made my goal a lot easier to achieve, I remember saying to myself, wow, I'm flabbergasted by this. I'm so flabbergasted, I'm actually gabberflasted that this happened. But the later reveals about the Dr. Higgins, I think was his name, his relationship with his daughter Daisy, her connection to Diana and 8, did make it a bit more interesting for me. It reminded me a lot of Giant Robo and of Symphogear GX, where your main antagonist has this very, like, this is what I want to do. I've become this, like, misanthrope based on what happened to my father and the way I have interpreted my father's last words and his dying will. And 8 is very similar, because it didn't turn out to be a, well, yeah, I mean, I just think humanity sucks, and, you know, they're on the way out, they destroy the world, I should take over because blah, blah, blah. It was, my father created me and my sister Diana. I'm pointing at the case of the game. But, like, created the two of us to use as test subjects to save his daughter's life. And neither of us had any problem with that. And then someone in this corporation took credit for his research and wanted to move forward way before it was ready against the doctor's best wishes and his advisements. This led to them using this technology in a test subject and the test subject dying. And that test subject was his daughter. And in his dying moments, the doctor is like lamenting not being there for his kid when she was dying, for spending all this time on the moon. And I believe he was saying, you know, like, curse the corporation, you know, curse the earth, curse humanity. And 8 interprets that as, okay, my creator hates the earth, hates humanity, and hates the corporation. So it's my job to kill everybody because that's what he would have wanted. That's what makes him happy. And there's an argument to be made if that was actually a misinterpretation of what he wanted, or like, it's not what he wanted, but in his dying moments, he was understandably very bitter and very jaded, or like, no, this is exactly what he wanted. She is making her father happy, just that's something we can let slide. But I did find that interesting because the story, like the plot, does tie back into the dad simulator aspect of the game, in 8's relationship with Higgins, and then in Diana's relationship with Hugh. Because as I said, it is also a story of one AI being more human and learning what it's like to be human. And that was easily my favorite aspect of the game. As much as the gunplay did grow on me, and I did enjoy it, Diana is just precious. And like, there were several points playing the game, because like, it's something I do a lot when I play games. I will just give nicknames to my party members, and so I would just frequently refer to Diana as Princess. But I enjoyed just talking to her, giving her gifts, playing hide and seek. The fact that playing hide and seek with your daughter is a genuine mechanic in this game is just so ding cute and charming. It's something I have in my notes is that I think she's one of the best game partners since Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite. And that is something I really liked. Like, it's not just it's an escort mission. She is just as much part of the gameplay as Hugh is. And so no character necessarily feels like more useful. It's just you need both. And that's something I did really like. But the relationship with Hugh is something that really made me think about fatherhood. That this is kind of what it entails. Like, there's going to be points where you sit down and you have really important conversations and teaching moments. There's also going to be just fun times and good vibes. There are also going to be moments where you have to make hard decisions and you have to make sacrifices. And like some of my favorite moments of each is the conversation on the beach about just, what is it that you want? Okay, you want to go to the earth, you want to go to the ocean, then we're going to make that happen. Let's go. Let's achieve your dreams. There's, after fighting the looter digger with the hell yeah, and then Diane in the back, hell yeah. Like, I loved that. That was easily one of my favorite moments of the game. And then, I mean, you can't talk about like sacrifice and fatherhood in this game without talking about the ending where Hugh is infected with the dead filament. He knows that he is not long for this world, and he takes, I believe it was like the battery for his suit, and puts it in the pod to make sure that Diana is able to go to Earth while he stays behind. And as much as while I was playing the game, I was like, yeah, like I like the relationship. I think it's very sweet. It's very charming. These aren't the most interesting, deep characters. I don't think it's the most interesting plot. Ending still almost made me cry. Not quite, but it got close, and it got a lot closer than I was expecting. So while I think the plot is okay, the story, which is about this relationship, was really good and really effective. Sorry, I was like, I written down a quote from the game that I'm kind of paraphrasing a bit, but I think ties that up really well. There's a part when Hugh is talking about sandcastles, because Diane is like, I don't understand. Why would someone build a sandcastle? Like, what's the point? If it's just going to be destroyed, it's going to be destroyed quickly. To which Hugh essentially tells her, that's what gives it meaning. It doesn't matter that it doesn't last. It doesn't even matter that it fades away so quickly. It's the fact that there was genuine effort put into it. There's genuine love put into it. That's what makes it matter. So even though this is a relationship that didn't last particularly long, it's still meaningful and it's still beautiful because of the effort that was put into it, because of the love that was put into it. And one bit from the game that I found really interesting is when Diana gets sick with the dead filament and then Hugh tries to rescue her, there is a point when I think he puts her on the table. He says something along the lines of like, no, not again. I can't let this happen again. And I think that was supposed to just refer to him losing his team at the start of the game. Like, I don't want to lose anybody. I don't want to lose my teammates, my crew, my partners. But I was also kind of thinking to myself, is he freaking out because he's lost a child before? Because at the very start of the game, he kind of has this aversion to kids, and he talks about, he's like, yeah, like kids. I don't really like kids. I don't like dealing with kids, which might just be purely at face value. But with that later part of the game in mind, I was thinking, did Hugh have a kid at some point and his child died? And as a result, it made him, because it's not like a Last of Us situation where you're playing as a more like kind of grizzled person lowering down their walls. Like, he was just kind of a bit of a goober. It's something I do really like about him. I think it's something that does separate Pragmata from some of these other like dad simulator kind of games, which I do enjoy very much. But it was something that did make me think, did he lose a child? And that's why he kind of has this aversion two children, doesn't really want to talk about them, but he's maybe subconsciously projecting that onto Diana. Not the aversion part, but it's almost reminding him of the relationship he didn't have with his own kid, and that's why he is able to get attached to her pretty quickly. It's why he's so protective of her. Again, not necessarily. It could just be, I'm protective of her because this is a small child. Also, she's helping me. Also, I don't want to lose someone else because I just lost like 3 other people. So I don't know, but I thought that was worth bringing up. But overall, yeah, 6 years from when it was announced, 4 years from when it was supposed to be released. That is a pretty long wait. But overall, I think Pragmata was worth it. It is a game. I don't know if I'd say like I highly super recommend it, but I definitely think it's worth checking out. And if you do, I hope you enjoy it.